As Nicola said, this is the anniversary of the last referendum, which in a sense started the process that gave birth to the present Scottish Parliament. So today, in a sense, is the birthday of the existing Scottish Parliament. Maybe it's a rebirth of the nation as well, or the beginning of one. But yesterday, I had a very strange sense of déjà vu. And I remembered the incident, the event, which finally gave us undisputed change last time. Mrs. Thatcher decided to come up to Scotland shortly before the referendum. There is a rumour that a wealthy Conservative supporter wanted to offer her £100,000 not to come. True or otherwise, she came, and we know what the result was. So if I say today, and I would say yesterday, if one member of the establishment can make such a difference, what can three do? There's a story about London buses and how they come along. And I'd like to think of it in this way. One bus came along, and we waited in vain, I should say, for one bus to come along for a debate. A little later, no fewer than three came along for a lecture. So I'm reminded really of the fact of the Scottish play, the one we're not supposed to name, the Scottish play, Where Will We Three Meet Again? But no wonder they're running scared. Because Scotland could easily change their system, not just change Scotland, but change their system for the better. No wonder, indeed. Yesterday in a taxi, coming here, coming to my kind of hotel, I talked with the taxi driver, and he said something very interesting. He said, Scotland has come alive these last days, these last weeks. And I quote him, for the first time, people really believe it is they who will decide. Because the central issue of the referendum is simple, though the No campaign just don't seem to get it. The problem is not just an astonishing degree of confusion and incompetence, but apparent complete inability to understand the central question. It's about power, stupid. And here is the central question. Who has the ultimate power and right to decide Scotland's future? Westminster or Scotland's people and Parliament? It can't be both. In other words, who is sovereign? The Crown and Parliament or the people of Scotland? That is the central issue of this referendum, and it boils down to that simple thing. 5 years ago, I put to what was then a minority Scottish government and to the three unionist parties, I put forward the case for a second question on the ballot paper, which I wanted to be not Devo Max, indeed not Devo at all, but to be an autonomous Scotland in a new relationship with what would have to have been a radically reformed UK. The door was wide open in Scotland to that possibility. It was slammed shut by Cameron and the usual suspects. And like many who shared that hope for reform, real reform within the United Kingdom, I admit it. But I came to see, like so many who shared it, that the only way forward for the kind of Scotland I believed in was now independence, or what I prefer to call interdependent independence. For we are still together in these islands, but we are together in the future as adults come of age. Again and again, a Westminster government we did not elect claimed the right to impose policies we rejected and an ideology we profoundly resented. Devolution has no answer for that. The tactics used by the No campaign simply prove that they fail to understand how deeply that principle of Scotland's right is rooted in our history as a nation. First there was the stick to threaten us, now the carrot to tempt us. First there was the blackmail. Be naughty, vote yes, and we'll punish you. And now we get the bribery. Be good, vote no, and we'll reward you. First Project Fear, now Project Fantasy, a last desperate attempt to stem the tide. In brief, Scotland's central issue of where decisive power lies has again and again soured relationships. Think of Maggie's poll tax or Blair's war based on lies. Devolution, even the maxiest and most feverishly accelerated of devolution, is no answer. There are two fundamental problems with all devolution. First, it is incomplete. It leaves vital areas in the power of the government in London. And second, it is insecure. It's powered by gift, or more accurately, on loan. It can be taken back. It can be undermined at the whim of Westminster any time. Power devolved is power retained. The Scottish Parliament, the power of Scotland is not by gift, but by right. And Scotland needs something that devolution can never give us. The secure power to make her own decisions, to follow her own vision of a just and fair society, to take her positive place among the nations of Europe and of the world. Zwischen alle die Länder von Europa und von unserer Welt, avec toutes les nations de notre pays, de notre continent, de l'Europe. I believe the powerful, the politicians will say no, but I believe the people will say yes.